Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It's 7:37 now on O'Connor and Company. It's a busy Friday morning. Every day's busy these days. Coming up at 8:35, Janine Lawson. She's a former Prince William County supervisor, and she fought against that data center in Prince William County and She didn't win, sadly, when the supervisors voted, but now she's won in court with a lawsuit. We'll tell you all those details coming up. It's Larry O'Connor with Patrice Onwuka.
Good morning, Larry. Happy Friday, everybody. We made it.
Good morning to you, too. And, well, let's get right to it. He's the best. He's the great one. He's, well, frankly, an idol, a mentor, and a friend. And you hear him every day right here from 6 to 9 on WMAL. He is, of course, Mark Levin. Mr. Levin, thanks for joining us.
Mr. Larry, Ms. Patrice, it's always an honor. How's everybody?
We're good,
Great.
and we're
How
excited
are
about
you?
your big event tomorrow, the Reston Barnes & Noble. This is starting at 10 a.m., although I've been to these book signings before, Mark. People better show up a little earlier than that because there's going to be a line.
Well, you know what? This Barnes & Noble, by the way, is brand new. It is fantastic. There's plenty of parking there. And it's at the Spectrum at Reston Town Center, Reston, Virginia. And, you know, this is my home base, so I can't wait to meet as many people as possible. And we'll take our time, sign books. We always have a fun time. You know, it's a big meeting of patriots.
Well, more importantly, is Mrs. Great One going to be there?
That's true. No, you don't understand. It's the greatest one. And
the greater one, the greatest one. There you go. Well, actually, not so fast, sir. We got to talk about your book, and it's funny you should say the greatest one, because in Chapter 3, on positive power, I didn't get to this when we spoke last time, but you talk about God. You talk about our sovereignty as individual humans in God's eyes, and you compare that. Not just you, but you draw on some brilliant minds over history who have compared Judaism and Christianity and our view of God and our sovereignty as human beings with God's sovereignty to Islam. And I think that your analysis of political Islam really rings home in terms of what we're seeing every day right now, sadly, in the Middle East and back home here in America. So I'd love for you to expand on that and sort of give our listeners a glimpse of this part of your book and why they should get on power.
Yes, this is really very important to understand. America is great for a reason, and it's the way that it came into being. And these founders were great for a reason, too. They were well-read. I mean, they read their ancients. They were people of faith. They practiced it different ways. Doesn't really matter. So there were really two things that happened here. Number one, you look at the Declaration of Independence. What is it? You know, we look at it very superficially. The fact is that these men believe that God is sovereign. They embrace the Judeo-Christian belief system. And by God being sovereign, what they said is that God's children are sovereign here on earth when it comes to government. The people, each individual sovereign, and the people, the collective, is sovereign. And then they fused that. They knew a lot about the Enlightenment from the 1500s and so. And during the Revolutionary period, John Locke was the philosopher they read the most. And during the Constitutional period, Montesquieu. Locke is the genius behind the idea of the civil society. And the civil society predates government. Then we get to government, and Montesquieu is the one who put the most precise point on power checking power. Why? Because even though man is sovereign, man is imperfect. Man has a very dark side as well as a very good side. And so they took the belief system, they applied it through the Enlightenment. We created this fantastic Constitution, which is, as Justice Scalia used to say, the key to our Constitution is power checking power, separation of powers. And I compare that also to the 1936 Stalin Constitution, which is a fantastic Constitution. He kind of stole it from our Bill of Rights. But here's the deal. Liberty without rights means nothing, and rights without power means nothing. So I got to thinking, you know, I got to write a book on power and explain this. And then when it comes to Islam, political Islam or radical Islam or these terrorists and so forth, and it's seeped into our society. You have candidates running and actually embracing it. They did not go through the Enlightenment or the Reformation.
That's right.
They are stuck. The primitives in the 7th century, their tactics are barbaric. They've not come through the process that the other faiths came through. And so it's this, and Marxism is, well, they don't care about the Enlightenment. They hate it, and they hate the Reformation. So they're both about the centralization of power, controlled by a handful of masterminds. They're completely incompatible with the American founding, Marxism, Islamism, and so forth. So I get into this whole positive power thing versus the whole negative power because I think it's crucially important to understand.
Yeah.
Well, picking up on that point, there's some great examples. You have a post on your X feed where you talk about the failures of the United Nations in giving out giving out aid in Gaza, and how terrorist groups, militias, oppressive regimes, they exploit their power over the poor people who are in desperate situations. And I think that's true of a lot of the left right now, who use the plight of poor people, whether it's homeless, minorities, use them as cases to kind of hold power, yet never really fixing the problem. They just use these people to continue to stay in power, compared to those, I think, on the right who tend to say, no, we want everyone's boats to be lifted. Do you see that? Is that a good way of framing it?
Yeah, it's important. When you look at just here in this country, the open border, and how it's killed all these people with fentanyl, and how women were sold into sex slavery, and over 300,000 unaccompanied minors missing. You never heard the Democrats talk about that. They didn't give a damn. They still don't give a damn. And so they flood the country with people, and then they refuse to deport them. And as I explained in the book, that's all about power. That's all they care about. So they don't care about, quote unquote, the little guy. If they cared about the little guy, they'd look around here, the greatest country, the most prosperous country. They'd walk into the supermarket and say, oh my God, look at what's available to the common person, to the average man and woman. Look what's available. Things that aren't available, that weren't available to kings and queens, things that aren't available to 99% of the rest of the world. And they'd say, how did this happen? It happened through our founding. It happened with our Constitution. It happened in our belief that the individual is sovereign, and our embrace in market commerce, voluntary commerce. That's what we call capitalism, which is actually a word that Marx invented.
It's all about power. Mark Levin boils it down for you in his book On Power. I don't always get to read every book before an interview. I try my best, especially when the author is Mark Levin. This book was very easy to get through. It's a great one because he's the great one. And Mark, real quickly, because I'd love for you to sort of comment on some things going on in the news today in light of your book. This debate over jurisdiction, drawing congressional lines, gerrymandering, and President Trump's call yesterday to have a new census that does not count illegal immigrants in this country. Do you think that will pass constitutional muster? Surely it will be challenged in the courts.
By the way, tomorrow, Life, Liberty, and Levin, tomorrow night at 8, I actually spend my entire opening statement on this, all 20 minutes.
Give us a preview.
Excuse me, I have cholera. Anyway, so no, just kidding. Anyway, it's important to understand. Go ahead and read Article 1, Section 2, Clause 3. Actually, the word people or persons isn't in that section. It's in the section above. But that said, I want you to think about this. There are a lot of rights at play, so-called, for instance, one man, one person, one vote. If you live in a district which has a lot of illegal aliens, and that district is created, and you have a congressman that represents that district, your citizenship, you can vote. They, at least presumably, cannot. Your citizenship is watered down compared to, say, the district next door, which doesn't have a lot of illegal aliens and so forth. So there's a lot of constitutional aspects there. And also, when it comes to illegal aliens, you can't find anything. It's like birthright citizenship, where they set this up for illegal aliens. It's so crazy, so stupid. And so constitutional challenges, I mean, this is a slam dunk, but it doesn't mean the Supreme Court will find it a slam dunk, because I think we have a couple of them there that have gone Hollywood. So we'll see.
All right. Well, that's sadly all the time we have. But the good news is, as you mentioned, Life, Liberty, and Levin, both Saturday and Sunday, 2 unique shows, 8 p.m. Of course, the Mark Levin Show every night here for 3 hours, 6 to 9. And you can meet the great one face-to-face tomorrow, 10 a.m., Barnes & Noble, Reston. Mark, thank you, sir. Always a pleasure.
Thank you, sir.
You guys are great. Thank you, guys. God bless.